everyone, welcome back to The Composer's Life. I'm Nadia, your host, a fellow composer, sitting behind a microphone on a desk talking about all things music composition. If you're a subscriber to the show, I want to apologize for taking a year to upload a new episode, and in the middle of the Composing with Mode series, but I'm back here to finish it out. Over the past year, I've been traveling a ton and moved to a new country. I'm now based in the UK, which is very exciting, but that is why it's been taking me so long to get back to my podcast. I'm finally settled in and able to concentrate again on my podcast and my career in general, so that is a very positive thing now. Other updates on what I've been up to and what I've been working on: I had the opportunity to score 2 short films, and I composed a Halloween library for creators like YouTubers. Those are pretty much the only music projects I've been working on this year just because of the traveling and the moving. But now that I'm back, I have a bunch of things coming up. I'm going to be announcing some things on this podcast, so make sure you subscribe so you can be notified of when new episodes are released. And with that, let's finally get into today's episode, continuing the mini-series talking about modes and how to use them when composing. If you haven't heard the first episode of this series, which covers the Ionian mode, you may want to start there, where I explain the very basics of what a mode is. Today, we will be covering the mode Lydian. I would say that this mode has a very light and can be joyful feel to it, and if used in the right context, it can also be a little bit mysterious or otherworldly. It kind of feels like stepping into a dream, I think. Part of that has to do with the fact that the Lydian mode is based on a major scale, so the term happy often comes to mind for us Westerners. The only difference between a Lydian scale and a major or Ionian scale is 1 note, the 4th scale degree, which is raised a half step. Here's a major scale, and here's a Lydian scale. Because it only has a 1-note difference, I think it's one of the easiest modes to learn, and composing we'll see later in this episode, but it could be an easier mode to compose with as well. Next, I'm going to list a few pieces of music that are based in the Lydian mode. These are also listed in the description of the episode. You can look these up yourself because I can't play them on my podcast for copyright reasons, but if you look them up and listen to them, you can get an idea of how this mode can sound in an actual piece of music. I tried to find a range of genres and time periods of the Lydian mode. Most of them are more in today's music. First, we have String Quartet number 15 in A minor, opus 132 by Beethoven. To give you some context about this piece, in 1825, Beethoven had just recovered from a very serious illness from which he thought he was going to die. After a miraculous recovery, he wrote this piece as a thanksgiving for his life. So this piece can really show you how cheerful and joyful this mode can sound. Second, we have a piece you may recognize called Oh Danny Boy. This is a relatively new folk song, I would say, new in terms of looking at history. It is set to the very old Irish tune of London Derriere, but the lyrics were written by Frederick Weatherly in 1910. He originally had a different melody for his lyrics, and there's some speculation on who put the lyrics with London Derriere, but whoever did it, we can thank them for this gorgeous piece of music. I would say that this piece kind of shows how you can step into a dream a bit with this mode. This piece is popularly sung at funerals, and it's definitely not the most joyful or uplifting, but it does step you into this dream world that's kind of full of hope for another chance to see someone, sort of. That's how I describe it anyways. All right, the next few pieces are ones that you'll definitely recognize if you love gaming. There are 2 Nintendo games that use the Lydian mode. The first is Super Mario Galaxy, which was composed by Mahito Yokota and Koji Kondo. Sorry for the pronunciation, by the way, if I did not do those right. And the second is The Legend of Zelda, which was also composed by Koji Kondo. Another fun, popular piece of music is from the popular TV show The Simpsons, and it is just the Simpsons theme, which was written by Danny Elfman. Lastly, we have a pop song, Human Nature, by Steve Porcaro featuring Michael Jackson. It's interesting to note that I would say most of these examples are very uplifting, excluding possibly Danny Boy. Let's talk about the scale and how you can construct or build a Lydian scale. I'm going to go through 3 different methods of how you could do this. The first method uses a pattern of half and whole steps. Every scale is based off of half and whole steps. Lydian is no different. Lydian's pattern is whole, 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 half, whole, 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 half. Very nice pattern. 3 whole steps and a half step, 3 whole steps and a half step. Pretty easy to remember that. I'm going to give you 2 examples of constructing a Lydian scale using this pattern. I'm going to pick F to build this pattern on. First we have F, and we go up a whole step to G. After G, a whole step up to A. From A, a whole step to B natural. This is our raised 4th scale degree. From B natural, a half step to C. From C, a whole step to D. From D, a whole step to E. And from E, a half step up to F. I'll do another one, this time starting on E flat. You're welcome to pause here and try building it yourself first. Starting on E flat, we go up a whole step to F. From F, a whole step to G. From G, a whole step up to A natural. This is our raised 4th scale degree. From A natural, a half step to B flat. From B flat, a whole step to C. From C, a whole step to D. And from D, a half step up to E flat. And that is the pattern of whole and half steps for Lydian. The second method for building this scale works really well if you already know your major scales. All you have to do is simply play a major or Ionian scale starting on any note and raise the 4th scale degree up a half step. As an example, here is the A major scale and then the A Lydian scale. In order to get the raised 4th scale degree, the second time I will be playing D sharp instead of D natural. So again, the only difference between those 2 scales is the second time I'm playing D sharp, which is the raised 4th scale degree, instead of a D natural. Super simple. The third method is a bit more complicated to explain, so I'm going to play as I explain. First, I'm going to pick a major key. Let's do C major because it's all the white notes. Here's a C major or C Ionian scale. Now I'm going to play all of the same notes, but I'm going to start and end on F, which is the 4th scale degree in C major key. So again, all I did was play a C major scale, but I started and ended on F, and this gives me an F Lydian scale. For this method, you pick a major key and you play that major key scale on the 4th scale degree of that major key. I'm going to play it one more time for you because I know it's a bit confusing. So again, I'm going to play a C major scale. And now I'm going to play the exact same scale starting on its 4th scale degree, which is F. And that is another way that you can play and find a Lydian scale. Hopefully one of these methods makes sense to you. It really helps to practice it yourself so that you can start to recognize where it is and practice this. And I would definitely recommend trying it in different keys and starting on different notes to make sure that it makes sense to you. Now let's move on to the funnest part of the series, the composition. I'm going to compose a piece of music based in the Lydian mode. To start off, I'm just going to pick a random note on my keyboard. That's a G. So I will be using G Lydian as my key for this piece. My plan is to use a 3/4 time signature and compose around 4 bars of music. I'm going to play through the chords of this mode, which basically I'm just going to stack triads using all of the notes in this scale and try and find some chords and harmonies that I'd want to use for my composing, and then I'm just going to play around with the notes. Let's talk about what's going on right now in this kind of crazy clip where I'm just kind of playing notes. That's, what composing is. While composing, I guess I wasn't feeling a 3/4 time signature, so I'm going to stick with 4/4. I don't know if you caught it, but I accidentally made my home key D major instead of G Lydian. This is because in G Lydian, we have an F sharp and a C sharp. The C sharp is the raised fourth scale degree for G Lydian. And this is the exact keys in D major. So I kind of messed up when I was doing my chords and stuff, and I made D feel like home instead of G. So now that I've done that, my head is kind of stuck in the key of D. So I'm going to change my piece of music from being in G Lydian to D Lydian. Wish me luck, because I'm going to have to play with the chords again, and hopefully I don't make it feel like A major. But here we go again, starting the process with the harmonies of D Lydian. Okay, so a lot happening there. I'm feeling a bit exhausted, which is coming out in my playing, but it really did flow, and I like what I've come up with so far. I also did 8 measures instead of 4, but it was just coming out naturally, so we're going to stick with it. Here's the piece in its entirety. Apologies because I know that the rhythm and timing was not played perfectly, but I have played this over and over again, and that's as good as it's going to get for now. I do like this piece because it doesn't necessarily sound happy, in my opinion, but kind of that dreamy, serious, hopeful tone. Making D feel like the home key was a challenge, but I did it, so yay. You should try now composing something in this mode. It will help you get to know what it can sound like and what melodies and harmonies it can make. Anytime you learn a new piece of music theory and you compose with it, it's going to help expand your skill set and your vocabulary as a composer. So I would definitely recommend doing that as an exercise for yourself. And we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening today. And if you need some extra help understanding the Lydian mode, there's a link in the episode notes which will take you to a blog that I wrote, which covers all of the examples and methods of creating a scale. It has links to all of the pieces so you can listen to them. And I have a PDF of the Lydian scale written in every key. I hope you were able to get something out of this episode and have fun studying and composing this week.